The strike came without warning. One sharp elbow to her shoulder, another shove meant to humiliate. The words followed like poison in the air. Know your place. 600 soldiers stood frozen as the SEAL sergeant raised his hand again, confident no one would stop him. He was wrong. She didn't flinch. She didn't shout. She simply stepped forward, and everything changed. The parade ground was heavy with heat and dust, boots planted in long, perfect rows. This was supposed to be a routine briefing before deployment. Instead, it became a moment none of them would ever forget. She stood there in plain fatigues, no visible rank, her posture calm but unyielding. To the sergeant, she looked like an outsider, someone who didn't belong. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're rewatching from. I love knowing who's listening. The sergeant had already decided who she was. A guest. A mistake. Someone who needed reminding. His voice was loud enough to carry across the formation, soaked in arrogance and certainty. He laughed when she didn't move back. That laugh echoed too long. Inside her chest, a familiar stillness settled in. Not anger, not fear. Discipline. The kind forged through years of cold nights, of broken bones, and impossible missions where hesitation meant death. She had promised herself she wouldn't use it here. She had promised this visit would be quiet. She had come to see her younger brother, newly enlisted, standing somewhere in the third row, trying desperately not to look at her. She remembered tying his boots for the first time. She remembered the day he begged her not to leave for another mission. She had smiled then, like she smiled now. The sergeant stepped closer. Too close. He grabbed her sleeve. That was the moment. She moved like a door slamming shut. Fast. Final. One twist. One step. Two sharp cracks that cut through the air like snapped branches. The sergeant screamed as he dropped to his knees, both wrists broken, his certainty shattered in less than a second. Silence swallowed the parade ground. 600 soldiers stood motionless, breaths caught in their throats. She released him gently, as if setting something fragile down. Dust drifted through sunlight. Somewhere a helmet hit the ground. No one spoke. The officers at the edge of the formation stared in disbelief. Medics rushed forward but hesitated, unsure who to approach first. Her brother felt his knees weaken. He had seen her calm before, but never like this. She stepped back into place, hands behind her back, head high. The commanding officer pushed through the stunned ranks, his face pale with recognition. He stopped in front of her and did something no one expected. He saluted. The sound of his boots snapping together seemed to wake the world again. Murmurs rippled through the formation like wind through tall grass. Phones would never capture this moment. No report would fully explain it. She's here as my guest, the commander said quietly. And she outranks every person on this field. The truth landed heavy. She wasn't just a visitor. She wasn't just family. She was a legend and operative whose missions were whispered about, whose name never appeared in print. A woman who had led teams out of impossible traps, who had carried wounded soldiers for miles, who had chosen silence over medals. The sergeant was taken away on a stretcher, his cries fading. Some soldiers looked away in shame. Others watched her with something new in their eyes, respect sharpened by awe. Her brother finally dared to look at her. She met his gaze and softened, just for him. He nodded once, pride burning through his fear. Later, as the formation dispersed, she stood alone at the edge of the field. The wind tugged at her sleeves. Her hands trembled now from the fight, but from the weight of it. She hadn't wanted this lesson taught today. But some truths demand witnesses. The commander approached her quietly. "You didn't have to do that," he said. She shook her head. Someone did. There was kindness in her eyes as she walked away. No celebration, no triumph, just resolve. Because strength doesn't announce itself, and respect isn't demanded. It's earned. She'd come to visit her brother. She left having reminded 600 soldiers what real power looks like. Because kindness doesn't vanish, it waits, and it finds its way back. And sometimes, the quietest people carry the loudest truths. If this story moved you, share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to Whispered Words for more unforgettable mission stories, because the ones who change everything are rarely the ones shouting the loudest.